because in our institute, let's say I want to do a research on biomedical things. Let's again bring the EMG, one biomedical signal, electromyography signal. So I want to analyze, I want to classify. So when I will do analyze and classify, so I did something. Then when I tried to publish, I found that other people has already used this method and did this one. So it's wastage of my time and it has no contribution, no innovation things over there. So what we will do, I will go through around 100 or 200 or 300 paper on that topic. And from there, I will know that where this research exists now, how much already world developed the things on this topic, particular this topic. So when I will go through all this paper, then based on this 100 or 200 paper, I will write a review paper and I'll make a discussion to let other people know, and also for myself, that okay, this research is saturated, this research came to that stage, so that I can start from there. So for PhD students, what's the benefit of writing a review paper? Because for a PhD, the first thing that you need to know the problem. Second thing, out of that problem, what is your objective or goal? Okay. So if you write a review paper, that is the benefit, that you will know what is your objective, what should be your goal setting. So this is the advantage of following the second one, that is idea, then write paper, then do research. Okay, I just need to get a feedback. Is everyone can listen? From the moderator, I want to know that everyone can listen. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Then, when I'm writing, what should be my general principle? First thing is that it's a story, like a story, because it will be published in the journal, right? So obviously there are a reader who will read that one. So your write-up should not be boring. It should have some elements so that the reader will not get bored. Okay. Second thing, that is learning to write, is learning to edit yourself. So what happened usually? Let's say one PhD student, my students, what they usually do initially, they write something. Okay, they make a draft. Then straight away they submit to me to have a review, and that you should not do. Because when you are writing something straight away coming from your brain without any editing. So when you write your first draft, take a gap, like 1 day or 2 days, then read that one. And I can tell you that 50% and more than 50% of your article, you will edit by yourself because it has no meaning. Or you will see that there are a lot of mistakes. Then what will happen? Again, after cleaning this one, after 2-3 days, you will read it again. And I'm pretty sure you'll get again 20 to 30% error. So by this way, 2 to 3 times, you will read your own article, then you will submit to your supervisor. There is a reason of doing this, because you are a PhD student, you are giving your first draft to your supervisor. If your supervisor go through the first page and if he see that it has no meaning, he will keep on his table. He will not read it. So instead of getting back by 1 week, you will see that you are getting back your things after 2 months or 3 months. Okay. Okay. Then when you are sending any article to the journal, you should go through that journal scope. And not only journal scope, remember that sometimes the journal, the scope that they write over there is really don't reflect exactly what are they publishing. Okay, so after knowing the scope, when you see that your research falls under that scope, then what you will do, you'll go to their archive and see what kind of article they have published so far, and see that your kind of things they have published earlier or not. You see that your scope, I mean, your article or your field fall under that scope, but you're not finding a single article which is like your, your topic, then don't submit over there. It's a waste of time. Okay, so before you submitting your article, you must need to know the journal where to submit. And another thing you have to understand, because first goal is to write. After writing, it will send to the editor. Now your journey starts from there. First thing is that editor will read that one. If editor find it interesting, then only he will send it to the reviewer. So you see, if you can't pass with editor, it will never go to the reviewer. And if it is not going to reviewer, that means you are not getting the things that you want. So you need to know for both the cases, editor and reviewer, that how actually they go through the article. What they do for editor and reviewer, first they read the title. If the title is not catchy, if the title, I mean, your whole article do not reflect your article, they will feel less interested. After that, these people, what they do, they read the abstract and be sure that everyone will read the abstract. So your abstract should be very concrete and interesting. Then this reviewer and the editors, they go through the introduction. And remember that this introduction, they really don't read line by line. They skim, just they go through one kind of scanning. If it is interesting, then they read the intro method transition. That is, you are explaining your all the methods. They just see that what kind of method, okay, neural network. They don't go through detail what neural network you are doing. Okay, neural network, then you are doing this fuzzy, okay, blah, blah, blah. So they just read that one and the intro method transition. And during that time, they look into the figure, okay, into the, I mean, the method and result section. Then finally, they skim the discussion. Only when this is interesting, they feel to read thoroughly. Otherwise, this whole thing for an editor will take maximum 10 to 15 minutes. Now you understand that you are writing something, one editor who is reading whole things by 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and then he get his interest or not. If he get interest, he will read thoroughly, then send to the reviewer. Okay, so that's why you need to know that which part should be more concrete. Obviously, whole paper will be concrete, but to pass the hurdles, you have to be careful about every section. Okay, I think I will give 1-2 minutes to the audience if they have any question till now. You can ask directly or you can write through chat so that I can give the answer. Anyone has any question, you can ask me or you can write in the chat box. Okay, there is no question. That means either you are understanding or maybe not understanding. Okay, so then we need to know that we have so many journals. If you go through the, if you Google, you'll see that thousands of journals. And mostly what happened, what I found that in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, this region, they have so many journals, even that worldwide, of course. And the universities and institutes, they publish in, I mean, it's like that they want to publish, so they publish anywhere. But mostly what mistake they do, that maybe it is acceptable in their country, but in outside, those journal has no value. Actually, let's say, for example, you are writing in a journal and you are sending your CV to another country. When they will go through that journal, they and the publication, they will see the journal name. Frankly speaking, they will undermine it. Malaysia was also like this 10 years back, but now they overcome that one. They simply don't allow to publish to those journals. For example, me, even that if my students wants, I never allow them because it will actually downgrade me. So that's why you also need to know this one. First category is ISI listed journal. This ISI listed journal is very reliable and authentic. It has impact factor. And this journal, they categorize in 4. They call it quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, quartile 4. So quartile 1 is the, very prestigious journals like Nature. Okay. Quartile 2, second category, quartile 3, third category, quartile 4, fourth category. Okay. These journals under ISI, it can be paid, it can be without pay. Usually paid means that those are open source journals. And when one journal they start in the business, immediately they cannot go, they cannot be listed in ISI. They need certain time to fulfill certain condition, then only it goes to ISI. But if they cannot fulfill the requirement over the year, automatically that will be withdrawn from the list. And this is the only journal, this ISI listed journal, which is acceptable by every world-class university. Our second category journal is called the Scopus listed journal. It doesn't mean that Scopus listed journal is not good, but very few. Because you see that when one journal, they say, let's say IEEE, they just started to be one journal. Immediately, it will not be ISI listed. So it will be a Scopus after certain time, okay? But still, it's a good journal. But if it fails, I'm pretty sure IEEE will withdraw that journal as well. So Scopus listed journal, mostly not reliable. This can be also paid or without pay. It has no ranking. Some are acceptable, I told you, but mostly not acceptable. And the third category is called the scientific journal ranking. So whoever in this ranking, don't publish here. It's wastage of time. Well, okay, you can publish if it is the requirement to fulfill for an institute or your government, then it is a different issue. But these are really not any journal. Okay, so if you want to publish, you always try to publish in ISI listed journal for your reputation. Okay. Okay. After this, I will go through that, practical things. It's called that hands-on type things. So there are two types of research and articles in publishing world. First is called the research paper. Second is the review paper. Research paper has few categories. One is long paper, whose dimension can be from 5 pages to 30 pages. Second one is letter. It can be from 1 page to 3 pages maximum. Then another was the short communication, which is 3 to 5 pages or 8 pages. Okay, so this is the research paper. Another one is the review paper. Okay, so there are two types paper that is being published in the journal. So let's start with the research. This is the thing that you can see. This is the formation or structure of any research article. It must have a title. It must have an author's name and affiliation, abstract, keywords, introduction, methodology, results and discussion. Sometimes you can split it by results on section, discussion on section, conclusion, acknowledgement, reference. So these are standard, and every element should be in your journal. You cannot skip any section. Okay. So what I do, I will go one by one, by title, author name, and so on. And this is the, remember that this is the structure for research article, long paper. Again, I'm telling you, you see that long paper more than 5 pages to 30 pages. So it's a long paper. You see that at the beginning, I told you that title should perfectly highlight your principal word. That means whatever you are writing in your whole article, all should be reflected through your this title. Okay. So when you will do the title, avoid any kind of ornamental words. I'll show you what I mean by ornamental. You see the first title, expert system for power quality disturbance classifier. So when you have this title, it is perfectly reflecting, or the audience or the reader, they easily understand, okay, this guy is doing something with power quality disturbance. So he's classifying, it's expert system, but that is, there is some automation. Okay. You look at the second one, design and analysis of UHF micropower CMOS DTMOS rectifiers. So easily you understand what this, this article is telling. Third, you see a novel EMG signal analysis to determine muscle fat. You see the third one. It's interesting. I can understand that, okay, maybe this article is doing something with muscle fatty. So he's doing signal analysis. But what kind of analysis? What method? I'm telling you a novel. Novel is a, you know, that it's it really doesn't have the exact meaning of novel. So that's why third title has no meaning. It is really not reflecting the contents. So you have to be careful about title. That is, title should reflect what is the content. This is one. Second thing, don't make title so big. Now, you see that I put few words here, which is actually I made ornamental. You see here, I told reliable, scalable, high performance, robust, low complexity. Because when you're writing reliable, what does it mean by reliable? Do you have any standard of reliability? When you're writing scalable, how scalable it is? When you're telling high performance, which value is determining that is, it is beyond that one is high performance? Robust, how much robust? Low complexity, what is that threshold of low? You see? So this kind of words actually not appropriate for any article, not only title, also inside the text. So always try to avoid this kind of words which has no specific, you know, the threshold. Okay, so this is about title. Next is the author names and affiliation. So why do we do? Of course, we need to put our name so people will know that who is this guy. Okay, but one thing you must know here, that is, when you will start your publishing journey, you are always using the same name. Why? because you see that at the beginning I told you about H-index. So you see that those those organizations who collect all this information, like ORCID, like Scopus, what they do, they go through the name. So let's say for me, in the early age when I started my journey, some paper I'm writing MBI Riaz, some paper I'm writing Mamun Riaz, some paper I'm writing MD Mamun. Then I found that I have 3 entities. Under first entity, I have 10 paper, second entity, I have 15 paper, third entity, I have 50 paper, and different entity has different H index. So obviously it will not be more, right? With 10 paper, maybe my H index 1, with 15 paper, my H index 3, with 30 paper, my H index is 4. But if I include all, my H index shoot up, right? So that's why what you will do from the beginning, you will be with the one name, which you will follow your whole life. Second, why do we need to give to the affiliation, correct email address and everything? Because when you write the article, it is for reproducing. Because other institute, when they will read your article, if they get stuck, they need to contact you to get the help. Maybe you are using some data bank. You got that data, I mean, you produced that data. So they need that data to do further research. Okay. So obviously, if you don't have the proper affiliation and address, they cannot contact you. That's why always you give your right affiliation, right email address. Okay. Again, I'll give 2 to 3 minutes to the audience. Anyone have any question?
Sir, some participant have questions. They have asked. I will convey you that question.
Can you do one thing? Because everyone has the chat session, right? You can tell them that write in the chat box so that I can see, I can immediately give the answer. Even that during my the lecture, they can write that in their chat.
Sir,
So it will be
they have only visible question tab. They don't able to see that chat box.
Oh, okay.
And even
Then you better tell me.
whatever question they are asking, only I'm able to view it.
Okay. Go ahead.
So yes, so can I ask you some questions regarding this?
Sure.
Uh, Avinash Lambert sir has asked that how to select the impacted journal.
Okay. What I do, for me, I do a little bit hard way I do. Maybe I'm ambitious. Okay. What I do, when I write an article, I know that what could be the depth of this article in terms of research, because when I'm writing an article, okay, later you will see that in introduction chapter, you need to go through the present state of research on that topic. Okay, so I know that where the world is now on that particular topic. Okay, so the research outcome will give me the feelings that how innovative it is, how much contribution it has. So I always start with Q1 journal. I go through the Web of Science. It's not that easy. I'm pretty sure some of your friends' institute are registered with the Web of Science. Okay, so if you can tell them or get their password, you can go through and see that what are the journals under Q1. Then you can select which journals suited for you based on scope and publishing articles in their archive. So I start with Q1. Why I start with Q1? Because when I send to Q1 journal, if it goes to the reviewer and being rejected, it's good because I will get some review. So I know that what are the fault or error I have in that research. If I see that those error I can overcome, then send to the same journal or to another Q1 journal. Let's say after rejection of few Q1, I know that it is not Q1 standard. Then I go for Q2. But you see that you have to select, because Q1 journal, it starts from 30, 40 impact factor to 4, 3, 3, 4 impact factor. So it is obviously if you start with 40, no one will take that one. Okay. So you have to understand, you have to judge that from which type of Q1 you will take. Is it 3 impact factor, 4 impact factor, or 10 impact factor? Based on public, archive, you will see that a lot of publication. See that their publication and compare with yours. Then you will understand that which Q1 journal you will go through, or Q2, or Q3, or Q4. Okay.
Okay, sir. One more question is asked by Anuradha. At how many reference papers should be there? General review paper, and it is depend on the paper you are working on or the topic you have selected, but still she wants to know about it.
Okay. I will go through, because that is one section. So when I go to that section, she will get her answer.
Okay.
Any more?
Pratima Gangwar ma'am asked that how we know that which journal is Scopus or not.
Yeah, the thing is that only solution, you have to go through the Web of Science, because remember that all ISI listed journal is also under Scopus. But not all Scopus journal is under ISI. Okay.
Okay.
So going through Scopus list, you will not know which one is ISI listed journal. So the only way to know, you have to go through Web of Science master list. And I believe that if you go through Google, somewhere you will see that someone is uploading that one. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that is the only way to know that which one ISI listed, which one Scopus. Then.
Okay. One more question is asked by Ravindra Pardhi sir. Is there any limit of word count while writing abstract?
Yeah, usually 150 to 300, but don't cross 250 words.
Okay, sir. Sir, these many questions is up till now.
Okay. Okay. So let's go through rest. Okay, I thought that it will be 1 hour 30 minutes, but I will show me to go further.
Okay.
Hope everyone will have the patience. Okay. So abstract. Second most important thing is abstract, because everyone will go through this abstract. So these abstracts should be concise, and it will be the gist of whole story in one paragraph. Remember that abstract is always one paragraph. It cannot be more than one paragraph. Okay. So what you will do, your abstract, I told you that it will be gist of your whole thing. That means when I will read the abstract, I will get everything in your article. So here, another thing, that is, it will not refer to any other parts. That means in the abstract, you cannot say that, okay, these things will be seen over there, or this is shown in figure number 1, this shown in figure. No. In the abstract, there will be no citation. It will not refer to any other part. It will not refer to any figure. It will not refer to any table. Okay. You can do some background information, but it should be very little, maybe a sentence only. And the most important, another most important thing, whatever you are writing in abstract, it should be consistent to your whole things. For example, you are telling in your abstract, so we developed a low power ADC. But then when I'm going through the methods and results and other things, I don't see any low power term over there. I don't see any method section where you are dealing with low power. No, you cannot. Because in the abstract, you told that you are doing low power. Okay. Again, vice versa. You didn't mention anything about low power, but in the method, your one section is dealing with low power. Okay. So it cannot be. Whatever you tell in your abstract, you have to produce the same thing in your article. So what usually the size of abstract? Letter usually 50 words, short communication 50 to 100 words, long paper 150 to 250 words. But you see that these are not firm. It depends on journal. So they will tell you what is the maximum length. But usually they follow this structure. So when you will write an abstract, actually you can think or you can do these things in two different ways. You see that I wrote 4 sentences for long paper. What are the 4 sentences? Your abstract first will come with state the problem. Okay, your first 1 or 2 sentences will be state the problem. Then you need to say that why this problem is an interesting problem. Third, what the solution of this problem. And 4, what this solution will give to the society. You see? So abstract will be written in this way. It has another way to do. What is that one? You're writing an introduction. Later, when I go through the introduction, you will see that introduction starts with the problem. Okay? So your whole introduction, you will squeeze to 2 lines maximum. After introduction, what you write, your methods. These methods comply with that, your solution, right? So these methods you will squeeze to 2 to 3 lines. Then your result and discussion section you will squeeze to 1 to 2 lines. Then your conclusion will squeeze to half to 1 line. So when you will squeeze to this structure, automatically it will follow this 4 sentence, and that will be your abstract. So what we usually do, we write the abstract after we complete introduction. I mean, after we complete whole article, then we start writing abstract. Okay. So I will not give the scope of asking question, but I'm pretty sure you will have some question with abstract. So after I go through complete the introduction, then I will open for question section. Okay. So you see, I will give the scope to everyone. I'll give 1 minute. Please go through this abstract. Remember that whatever the abstract here I will show, everything is a published, and obviously it's from my articles. If you go through this abstract, you'll see that it's stating the problem, why it is interesting problem, why do you need to do research on this, it's also given, and what this solution achieves is gave but in a minimum scale, and what follows from your solution, that's also telling that it is explained why these concepts will probably be used in concentrator system. Okay, this is one example. Another example is this. Go through this, just read, scan. Remember that this is published in IEEE. So you see, the interesting thing, it is not telling about any problem. Neither it is telling why this problem is interesting. Solution is there because measured results verified the design model with average accuracy of 10.85%. That is there. But it's not even telling that what is the, I mean, how this solution will be, deployed in the community. But still it's published. So remember this one. I will later tell you that why it got published. Okay. So I'll keep this secret for now. Okay. Next is the another abstract. It's a long one, so I will, later you can go through this. Here actually also telling the problem, interesting problem, maybe not telling, solution achieves, they are telling, what this solution go for also they are telling. Okay. Now the second one that I told, that is here. Why? Because remember here, abstract for letter and short paper, you cannot have these three. No problem statement, no interesting problem statement, no your solution follows to where, no. We have only one thing, what is your solution? That is the requirement for a letter and short paper. You cannot tell anything except what you are doing. So if you read here, design analysis of VHF micropower rectifiers based on a direct connected dynamic Hirsch is discussed. An analytical design model for Atto is derived based on curve-fitted diode equation parameters. So you see, he's telling what he did, what outcome he got. And this is the first rule for letter and short paper, that you cannot say anything beside your thing that you did. Because your letter mostly are 1.5 pages. They have limitation of figure and table, mostly 3, maximum altogether 3 table or figure you may have. Okay, so in the letter they don't allow to say anything about others. Now you may question that, I mean, why letter then, when I'm not telling what the problem, why it is required? Because letter is that one which is published only those research which immediately needed to the community. It can be local community, it can be industry, it can be society, okay, which is needed now. For example, COVID-19, you have a solution now that will be published in letter because it urgently needed. Okay, so remember that letter and short paper, you cannot have other things and only the things that you are doing. And letter and short paper is being published only which is urgently or required now in the society or community. This is another example of letter and short paper. In this letter, we show a fault localization system implemented by using policy-based threshold for triggering alarms or self-healing mechanism. Alarms are collected and organized within a code book, blah, blah, blah. So you see that here also they are telling what they did. This is another one, and later you can go through. Okay, so after that, that's all about the abstract. Then is the keyword. This keyword, why it's needed? Because you see that if you have the keyword, that keyword helps others to find your article. So when you will put, let's say for example, you are writing something which involves CMOS analog circuits, power quality, fuzzy logic, electromyography, for example. Okay, So when you are putting these keywords, so when others will search with these keywords, your paper will come up front. Okay, so that is the reason to have the keywords. Next is the introduction. As I told you that when your abstract will pass through, then only reviewer or the editor will go through the introduction. And in the introduction, he will not read everything. He'll just skim few things, okay? So it doesn't mean that your introduction, you can be lazy. No, obviously not. Everything should be a concrete one, okay? But at that time, I told that how actually reviewer initially go through your article. So here may be something I wrote, but when I will explain in my own word. You see that in abstract, introduction, it's like a pyramid, okay? But you know, not the pyramid, opposite of pyramid. How? Your first paragraph should be a global problem. So I'm giving you one example. I'm doing a research using UNFIST to measure the polyneuropathy. Maybe it's not your field, you will not understand, but in nutshell or in a you know the lavish way to say that I'm doing one particular things to analyze which actually help diabetic to know. That is where what is the intensity of diabetes. Okay, but actually I'm not really doing anything with the diabetes because polyneuropathy it's a neural things of the muscle. So when you know that muscle has this neuropathy, from there you know that whether your foot underneath is there any foot ulcer or not, and what will be the condition of foot ulcer based on your diabetes. So you see, I'm not doing anything with diabetic, I'm not doing anything with foot ulcer, I am doing only with EMG signal. You see, my research is only EMG signal. But when I write the introduction, my first paragraph, I will write about diabetic. Okay, diabetic is a severe problem in this world now. Almost 30 or 40% of population of this world suffering from diabetes. One of the disaster for diabetic patients is that if they grow foot ulcer eventually. And this foot ulcer, what is the status of foot ulcer? And it can be, the warning can be understood through the classification, through the polyneuropathy severity. And this polyneuropathy can understandable through the EMG signal. Now you see, I started with diabetic, then I told about foot ulcer, then I told about polyneuropathy, then I told about EMG. Why I'm doing this? Because I need to show the reviewer and the editor that how important my research is. Because if this research is published, you see that all this diabetic world, they will get benefit. But let's say mostly what the students they do, because they are doing EMG signal. Okay, this EMG signal, we did this one. Through this, we can measure the severity of polyneuropathy. You see that I don't see any importance. I don't see the severity. Let's say I'm editor. Okay, you did a good job, but I don't see that it is that important. But when I'm telling that it's the diabetic, then it's the foot ulcer, one serious thing, then it's the polyneuropathy, then EMG, oh, okay, this somehow really giving some, you know, benefit to the diabetic patients. You see? So your first paragraph should be the global problem, which will give some impression to the reviewer. Okay, this research is worth publishing. Okay. After this first paragraph, you see that I ended up with the EMG signal. Now, second paragraph will be what are the problem now you are having with this EMG signal analysis. Obviously, remember that your research is EMG signal analysis to classify polyneuropathy. Now, you cannot give the research, present research on EMG signal. You have to put at least 2 and more. Remember that at least 2 and more research on EMG signal classifying polyneuropathy. Let's consider you are giving 2 recent research who is doing this EMG signal analysis for polyneuropathy. Mention that research, what method they are using, but be sure that you are writing what disadvantage that research had. Then go for the second one. Tell what methodology they are using and what disadvantage they have. Remember that. Here is the trick. You did some classification. It's really giving very good, but maybe it's not, the time consumption of giving the result is not that fast. For example, one guy, the first research who did this classification, he got a good result, 90% accuracy. But in terms of real time, it's giving to process, let's say processing time, it's for example, 10 minutes. Okay, but remember that his accuracy rate is 95%. Now, you did something which is 80% accuracy, but your time is only 1 minute. Okay, obviously that guy is much better than you. Never show his advantage over there. Write that this researcher Mamoon et al. Used the fuzzy logic to classify the polyneuropathy. However, his execution time is 10 minutes, which is not realistic in terms of real time. Got it? Because he is good than you, but his one parameter is bad than you, and you want to beat that one. Okay? So what we understood in the second paragraph, we will tell about other researchers on the same research, same field, same topic, but this researcher should be 2 and more, and each researcher will show their disadvantage. Okay, this is the second paragraph. Then the third paragraph. Third paragraph, what methodology that you want. Okay, let's say you are telling that, okay, we are in this, therefore we are using neural network to overcome those 2 disadvantages that you showed, to overcome those disadvantages. No, you cannot directly say that you will employ neural network. What you need to do, you will write that neural network, it can solve the nonlinear signal. EMG signal whose nature is nonlinear. Therefore, we are employing neural network to overcome those 2 disadvantages that in the second paragraph you told, to overcome these things. So you got it? That is, first paragraph is global, second paragraph is the existing research problem, third paragraph is your methodology that you want to employ with stating that why you want to employ that one. Then the fourth paragraph will be the conclusive. That is, okay, through this research using the neural network, we will be able to solve this neuropathy classification in short time to satisfy the real-time phenomenon. Okay, so this is actually 4 paragraphs that you will employ in your introduction. In introduction, you can put figure for other researchers, whatever it is you can do. Okay. Okay, so I will not skip actually whatever I wrote here in point form, actually everything I discussed just now. Okay, so here you can see in the introduction, this is also the first one. This is the first paragraph, okay, where I mentioned the growth. The scarceness of power quality experts in the electric power industry poses a problem in handling the huge amount of data gathered by the distributed PQ monitoring system. Besides that, knowledge about PQ is disparate and fragmented. The disturbance waveform contain serious imprecision of data and directly provides very little information on PQ, making conventional program fail to identify any PQ programs. You see that I'm telling the global things, power quality problem, but there are millions of, not millions, at least few, I mean the 2-digit number of problems. But obviously I'm not going to solve all the problem, right? But I'm starting as if that I'm solving whole PQ problem. Okay, so this is the style of the first paragraph. This is the second, second paragraph, where you will tell that exact research, for example, discrete wavelets have been proven to be very efficient in signal analysis. Apart from filtering noise, it accurately detects sharp changes and discontinuities in PQ disturbance signal and extracts their characteristics feature for subsequent disturbance identification. Then they are telling that why they are using artificial neural network. So this is most probably third paragraph. Then this is the second paragraph. Over the last 10 years, a number of different approaches to the PQ disturbance analysis using intelligent methods were suggested. In one of the research, DWT is employed to detect PQ disturbance. This approach unifies time and frequencies information and provides an integral signal processing paradigm, where its embedded wavelet basis serves as a window function to monitor the signal variations efficiently. Then the prototype is realized on an FPGA. So, is there any disadvantage? You see that there is no disadvantage. Okay, so it is really not a good paragraph, because it is not showing anything. It is just telling that, okay, this research is doing this thing. So remember that in your article, you will not refer this kind of reference or research. You will not explain which has no disadvantage. Actually, if you do that one, if the reviewer knows that he knows well about this research, he will think that, oh, okay, I know that one is better than yours. So actually it will backfire. Okay, another thing that we do in the introduction, sometimes we use the author, sometimes we use we, sometimes our. Actually, there's no hard and fast rule. If you think that you will use the author, you will use author. Otherwise, we, our. I prefer we, our. Okay. What about the letter? For the letter, it will do the same thing, but there will be no similar work. So you can have global problem, you can have, your solution, everything will be there, but you cannot refer any other similar work to show your contribution over others. That is the only difference of introduction of letter. So another thing in introduction, I see that some people, the last paragraph, they write this one, that okay, section 1 is telling this, section 2 is telling this, section 3 is telling this. Please don't do that, because this is for the master's thesis, PhD thesis. This is not for your article writing. Okay, So never ever give the organization structure. So I'll wrap up. Describe the problems so that readers know the context of the articles. Describe the features and advantages of the method that you are going to use. Describe the similar works with their disadvantages. Describe your work in brief with key achieved advantages. State your contributions. So these 4 things should be there in 4 paragraphs. A few more things. Always every single word will be reference. Okay, whatever you are telling, even that if you tell that, okay, this is good, you have to mention a reference that someone has told good, that's why you're telling. You cannot say good, bad, or whatever the adjective you use without proper reference or without your research finding. Let's say through research finding, you found that this research or this thing is really bad. Okay, show that one, your research finding through the values, then only you can say that one. Okay. And another thing that when one paragraph to you will go to another paragraph, be sure that there is a connection. Usually I make fun on this. If it is a live lecture, I used to tell that, for example, your first paragraph about a village, your second paragraph about a cow, it has totally 2 different paradigms. How shall you connect that one? So usually what you need to do in first paragraph, you will tell that in this village, the mostly are farmers and they use cow as for their farming, milking and other things. Then you can go for cow. So you see that there is a flow. So always remember that in research article, one paragraph and another paragraph may have 2 dimensions, but obviously you need to do something on the last sentence so that it can have relevance for the next paragraph. Okay, so now I will go for question session about abstract and introduction. Hello.
Some participant has it is not actually related to track, but open access journals are unpaid. Can you tell some of them? Deval sir asked this question.
Open access journal is always paid journal. Unpaid open access, no. At least I am not aware that open access journal, but they don't ask for payment.
Okay,
No,
sir. What is scope score? Apurva Dave ma'am asked this question.
Sorry, what?
What is Scopus site score?
Scopus site score. I think it's another, organization, because there are so many like SGC, Scopus, ISI, So CiteFear is another, organization who give this impact factor and other things.
Okay, sir. Thank you. How to write an abstract of review paper?
Abstract of review paper. Okay, I will go through. I think the next section, and after finish that one is I'll come with the review.
Okay, sir.
So,
Suryakant Revte sir has asked that question for keywords. Actually, this question.
So what is the question?
Any limitation for keywords?
Usually 5, maximum 5. Maximum 5.
Okay. How can we find number of papers per year dedicated to a certain topic?
I don't know, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. But you can gaze through the Google Scholar. You'll just give a keyword, then you can see. But obviously it's, thousands.
Yes, sir. So these many questions for this unit, sir.
Okay. Our next section is the methodology, and this methodology section is really small. because this is your work. So only you see that when I'm writing introduction, when I'm writing abstract, abstract, okay, you, but few sentences still you are bringing from others. Introduction mostly from others, okay? But methodology is pure your one. You decided which method you, so you will just explain those methods, okay? So when you will write your methods, be sure that is following a chronology, the way in the lab you started. Let's say first you did this one, second you got this one, third you got this one, and blah, blah, blah. So you follow this chronology, the way you did the work to get your final result. So to do this, instead of only describing through text, best is if you use some flowchart, some diagram. So it will be much easy for the readers to understand, okay? Obviously, when you use your pictures, flowchart, diagrams, be sure that it has high resolution so that it's published in a good, shape. If you do any assumption during your methods, give the assumption clearly, but you must show the rationale, or you need to justify why are you assuming this one. For example, just now I was reviewing one journal. Over there, they told that, okay, they took a length of 2 centimeters. In another, they are telling that the length 3 centimeters for that research particular. So I was asking that, hey, why 2 centimeters? Why not 5 centimeters? Why not 200 centimeters? Why not 2 kilometers? So you see that when you are taking some subject, no matter with whatever the size, what is the number of your sample, you must tell that why are you taking that 2 centimeters? Why are you taking 10 samples? Why not 50 samples? Okay, so you have to give rationale. And when you will do this one, sorry, any equation come, be sure that you are stating that equation in the in the text, and also sorry. So you are numbering that equation and consecutive, and your equation must be written in the text. And what you need to do in the methodology, don't expand which are known algorithms. For example, ANN, FL, DWT, these are very known, every people knows. So in your article, you don't need to tell what is ANN, how it looks, blah, 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 you don't need, okay? And you see the last sentence, methodology is not a set of instructions, thus avoid all explanatory information and background. So methods, which methods you are using, straightforward. You don't need to explain along and why this method came from, where this came, no, you don't need. You just simply tell. If it is not that known method, just explain this in brief. For letter, it should be very brief, because in letter, I told you that they have maximum 3 figures, including table. So you have to explain your methods or describe your methods in such a way so that you can, it can accommodate within that 1.5 paper. Okay. So another thing I think later I will tell, but still, as long as I can remember here, remember that in your article, you will come up with figure, you will come up with flowchart, you will come up with the table. Your figure, the caption should be on the bottom. Your table caption should be on the top. Okay. And you are not allowed to put any figure or table or flowchart or equation if it is not mentioned in the text. So if you put any picture or any figure, table, it should be cited in the text. Otherwise, that figure has no value. After methodology, the another most important is result and discussion. So mostly in our field, actually my field, we don't go for results and discussion, two separate sections. I always put in one section. That is, I put result, immediately I discuss about this. So result section means that what from your methods after doing the research, what are the results you got? So these results usually is most attractive or impressive if you put through some graph, okay, some figure, some snapshot, okay, rather than writing the results in text, okay. And these results, when you will tell, let's say you are showing one graph, then you are precisely telling everything in text. No, don't do that. If you put the figure, you really don't need to tell it in the text, through the text, okay. Now, when you're telling the results, okay, you showed one result that where we can see that the signal, the accuracy or the signal noise is really very low. Okay, so you can show that figure one shows the signal to noise ratio is very little. Okay. Okay, fine. I can see through the text and through the graph that it's signal to noise ratio. Most people, most students, most researchers, what mistake they do, they just explain the graph and they think that that is the discussion. Discussion is totally different thing. What you are doing, explaining or describing the figure or your result, that is still the result. Discussion is that why that noise to signal ratio you got low. That you have to discuss. Okay, due to this method, we are using this method whose characteristics to make the noise ratio down. So when we are employing this method in this research, so our signal to noise ratio become this. Some kind of these things which will tell that the result that you are getting, due to this reason, it's going down or you are getting this contribution. Okay, this is one. Second thing, in introduction, you told that is some disadvantage of other works. So this is the part in discussion where you will show the advantage of your work over those parameters which you showed in introduction that it has disadvantage. So mostly what we do, we make a table. On the left side, we put all the researchers' work. On the x-axis, we put all the parameters name like and the size, noise ratio, power, blah blah blah. Then we put the figure of the first researcher, second researcher, third researcher, fourth researcher, and lastly we put our work. And usually we make bold which one is good for us, and then we describe or we discuss on this table. We discuss that, okay, through table we can see that our one is having the lowest consumption of power due to this reason over others, okay, and we explain and describe. Okay, so this is one of the must thing to do, because when you are doing your research, you are telling that it's a contribution. But how it is a contribution? It's a contribution when you beat some other researchers, so that you can claim that the output of my research is much more promising than others. And that's why you need to show a table, and through that table, you have to show your contribution and your grades. Okay. Okay, now you see that last sentence that I did. Never claim any sort of superiority of your work without any proof from your result and comparison. Okay. Let's say through text you are telling, okay, this one is not that good, but our one is good. And you are also giving a reference that someone is telling that their one is not that good. But when you are telling your one is good, you have to show through numbers, through your result, through your research result, that why you are claiming that your one is better than them. Okay. Already I told about this, the figure and table. For the result and discussion for the letter, what the result you got and what discussion based on your result, only that. You cannot do any comparison. Okay, so that is the only difference between letter and long paper. You see that letter only be accepted if editor thinks that this is needed a publication now. So what is the advantage already? That editor has already decided. So you don't need to show what the contribution you have over others. Next is the conclusion. Many people, what I see, that they write big conclusion, like as if that is another discussion. Don't do that. Conclusion, even if you write 3 to 4 lines to 10 lines, is more than enough. Because conclusion means that after reading that one, people will know that this is the end of the story. That at the end, king and queen happily stayed. That's it. So in your conclusion, this research use this method, got this result, which can be employed in this society. Finish. Okay. So please don't spend much time on conclusion. And remember that another things people do, they think that conclusion means the, like abstract, like a summary. No, conclusion is not a summary. Conclusion, what method you use, from method, what result you got, final result, and where you are employing these things. End of story. So you can see here, okay, another thing, many people do that one. In the conclusion, they actually suggest that future what you can do or other can do. In theory, this is good. That is, you are giving the scope others to think that what else you can do. And in theory, again, I'm telling that this is good, but don't do that. From my own experience of 20 years of publishing experience, I found that whenever I'm suggesting a future work, reviewers sending back, okay, can you please complete these things? Let's say future work, I'm telling that, okay, it can be realized in FPGA. So reviewer is telling that I think that this should be realized in FPGA. So that means future become present for me. So my suggestion, better don't suggest any future research. Otherwise, that will be you who have to complete that one as well to publish in that article, that journal. Okay. You see that conclusion here, I put 2 paragraphs. Don't do that. Conclusion should be 1 paragraph, a simple paragraph. Okay. Okay. After that is the acknowledgement. In the acknowledgement, please don't do like this one. Okay, I give credit to my parents, I give credit to my husband, I give credit to my wife, I acknowledging this one. No, don't do that. Usually, you give the credit to your institute or the institute or person who is giving you the facility and others. And or if any research grant is being used for your research. Okay, only acknowledge that. Next is the reference. Sorry, I will get going a little bit fast because I think I am taking a long time and still a lot to go. In the reference, it should be two-way. One is the number and another is alphabet. So reference, what you need to do, look at here. Here I put name, this is must. Title, publisher name, volume if any, issue if any, page number, date, and place. Now, if it is, let's say you are referring a journal, name must, title must, publisher name must. Most of the journal has a volume, so volume must. Most of the journal has issue must. If there is no volume, no issue, then it's different. Page number must. And for the journal is only the year. Remember that if you miss any, obviously during the proof reading, they will send back to give those data. But if you cite a conference, name, title, publisher name obviously must, volume, issue if there is, you can. If not, obviously not, page number, but for date, it will be the exact date. Let's say that conference was 20 to 22nd December 2020. So you have to write 2022 December this. And beside date, you must need to place. Place how it comes? Let's say Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Let's say Kolkata, India. Okay, like this. And when you put the reference in your text, remember that it should start with 1. 1, 2, 3, maybe 1 is coming again. So 1, 2, 3, 1, then 4, 5, 6, again 4, like this. Don't do like this 22, then 1, then 5. No, you cannot do that. It should be numbered sequential. Another way is the author name. That is, you will put based on the name. Remember that these will remain same, and here it's only the numbers. And you see that here the name, this will follow for this one. That is, in the last name, you'll put. Okay. So alphabetically, first A, then B, then C, D. So here it will. You don't need to follow any order. Okay. If first citation come with Z, it will come with Z. It doesn't matter. But when you list the citation, at that time it will go alphabetically. Okay, in reference, few things. If you want to publish in a good journal, always try to refer ISI listed journal. Because as I said, that's Scopus and paid journal, research journal, that has no value. So when you will put the citation of those journals, and you want to publish in Cuban journal, it has no value. They will think that, oh, this journal has no weight. Okay, so when you will refer, try your best to put 90% to 95% from ISI listed journal. Try maximum 5 to 10% from conference. Okay, don't use any thesis, internal report, white paper, and web page as reference. If you want to publish in Q1 journal, don't cite any thesis, internal report, white paper, and web page. Okay. Okay. So that's all for research article. Then the rest will go very fast. So I will open for question.
Okay, sir. Some participant has asked question regarding references. There are various opinion references. It should be whether chronological or alphabetical reference.
Okay, it depends on the journal, the place where you are sending your article, because journal, I mean, each journal they have their own. Either some journal they go for the chronological, some journal they only go for the alphabetical.
Okay.
Any more?
Yes, sir.
Any more question?
Yes, one more question is asked by Anupriya. Is there necessity to write a methodology, a reference? What type of methods we are using and its reference?
Yeah, of course, of course. Let's say, for example, if you go through simply artificial neural network, it's well known, you don't need. But let's say artificial neural network, a particular style of artificial neural network you are using, which is coming from one particular researcher recently, then you have to refer it. Otherwise, you don't need. But if you employ one method which you are taking from another researcher, obviously you have to refer.
Okay. What is the difference between Scopus index journal, uh, index journal?
I mean, Scopus and
Hello?
ISI.
What is the difference between Web of Science indexing and Scopus index journals?
Scopus is that Scopus, the organization is Scopus, and Web of Science is another organization.
Okay.
So,
So these many questions we have received for this unit, sir.
okay. So next is the review article. Some people, lately I got a question about the review article. So you see that I'm following the same things.
Sir, one
Title,
more
author.
question is
Yeah.
asked by Dipti Karan. How many
Mhm.
reference book we should include into the references?
For research article? For research article, it depends. It depends. You can go for 20, 30, 40, 50. It depends. There is no limitation, but obviously not for a Q1 journal. Let's say your article size is 10 to, let's say 10, 15 pages and your reference is only 5. No. One more thing which I missed for everyone. When you will write the article, be sure that you reference a handsome number of reference from current 5 years to 3 years. Let's say now I'm publishing, okay? At least few articles should be cited from 2020 to 2019, okay? It cannot be you are sending an article where your latest reference is from 2012 or 2017. No, it cannot. That means reviewer will think that you are not aware about the recent state of that research. Okay. Any more? Hello. Any more question? Hello. Hello.
I think there are no questions, sir. You can proceed.
Okay. Okay. So for review article, it's the same title, author's name, abstract, keyword, introduction. We have gone through this. Conclusion, acknowledgement, reference is there, but only the things key researchers on the topic and discussion. So remember that a review article is being published only for these two items, key researchers on the topic and discussion. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So
Now, yes, sir.
anything else?
Okay, now I invite all the panelists to take part into the discussion related to the topic.
Oh, so shall I stop or I'll continue?
No, sir. Just for 5 minutes, we'll discuss the topic.
Okay, sure.
Sir, this is Dr. Kazi. I am very thankful and fortunate to have you for this wonderful session.
Good morning, Professor Mamun Rajmohan here.
Hi,
Very
good
happy to
morning.
see you again. Yes, sir. Sir, very basically, the PhD scholars or beginners will face one issue while writing they could not able to find out some vocabulary, or nowadays that Turnitinous came. Even in this paper we write again and again, we able to get the plagiarism or text similarity in our papers. So could you please highlight few problems or give some suggestions how the technical writing skills can be improved, especially for the beginners?
Okay. Well, the thing is that I avoid that topic in my lecture, technicality, because that's mostly the grammar thing. So that's why I avoided those things in my, the article, because for the researchers to publish in Q1 journal is most that how to highlight the problems and what will be the contents of the article. And grammar things is totally a different issue. But as long as you asked about the grammatical things, usually what I do or what I suggest to my student, get a, let's say for example, I want to publish in IEEE, let's say telecommunication, one journal. So I tell them to get a article which is very similar to your article. Then mimic that article. The way they are writing, you also write exactly the same way. You do the cut paste from other article, no problem. Then once it's done, have the formation, then you rewrite or revise the portion that you have cut and paste. Just revise so that it sounds like your texts. Then go through the Turnitin, some the available tools which shows the percentage of the plagiarism, even that they show where is the plagiarism. So over there, when you know that what are the plagiarisms there, then you can further change those sentences. So by this way, you can have your own way of writing. Because you see that few things which is totally yours, for example, methodology, for example, discussion, you cannot cut and paste these things because this is yours for which the article will be published. The only plagiarism that you will get for introduction. Got it? So for introduction, you can do what I just now told, to go through the plagiarism tools to see the plagiarism and revise it in your own words. But for the methodology and the results and discussion, obviously you cannot do cut and paste, because if it is not yours, then obviously no one will publish that one. I hope that I get the answer. Razmon?
Yeah, yes sir, yes sir. Thank you so much. Yes,
Okay, now very much for this excellent session, sir. This session will lead to write quality research papers in impacted journal. This session also helps a lot in clearing our doubts, sir. I would like to call Principal Dr. Prapti Deshmukh ma'am, convener of this international webinar, to put your opinion on this.
Thank you very much, Rita madam. And I first of all thanks Riaz sir for his excellent discussion on how to write paper in a good impacted journal. So starting with abstract, you end up with the conclusion. And a very minute observation I have noted, especially it will be very helpful to the beginners. No doubt we have taken example of, I think, electrical engineering. So we will correlate it with our domain and definitely try to correlate with our domain. And only the thing is, in the last that you sum up with the plagiarism, actually I was willing some inputs from you regarding the how to take care of plagiarism, because we do many things but we stuck up at the plagiarism. Many times our own research paper, due to our own research paper, we come across the plagiarism. It also happens. No doubt you have touched this part also, but I was expecting it may not be a part of your today's discussion, but it was a request if you could highlight this also, or in future we can have some discussion on this. So I would really like to thank you for your very patient um, delivery of the session. There was no any hurry up in the any of the session. The best part that I have seen is you have stopped the session in between and you have given importance to the question of the participants. So it was a live session. Everybody was listening very carefully because they were getting answers to their question also. So this is a unique thing that I have noticed in your presentation. So I thanks from my bottom of heart for delivering such a wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to thank participants and Professor Dr. Mohammad Mamun sir from Kebangsang University, Malaysia. Panelist Dr. Prapti Deshmukh ma'am, Dr. M.M. Kazi sir, Mr. Rajmohan Pradeshi sir from and participant from all over. Apart from the COVID-19 pandemic, you all participated in the event. So do take care of yourself and your family. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you for being with us. Before leaving this session, the important announcement for participants that you will get a feedback link on your registered email ID. So you have to submit that feedback form, and then you certificates. So that is the important thing you have to do as a post session activity. Thank you very much, Mamun sir, for being with us today. It was really
you.
excellent session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Kazi sir,
Thank
Pardeshi
you,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mamun sir. We expect you to be in India very soon in the
Yeah,
coming
thank
days
you,
when things will be
hopefully.
normal. And
Yeah, sure.
thank you so much. We'll
Okay,
miss
thank you.
that lecture
Yes,
which we organized in last year. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank
Thank you.
Thank you so much.